Good morning, friends. Hope you are all doing great. Yes, at your place. So we were discussing about taxation, history of taxation. Before going into the statute, we were discussing about history of taxation. Last class, I explained you in Indian context how the taxation was there. That is historic way of understanding the taxation. And in today's class, we'll be exclusively discussing about modern taxation, whatever is there at present. The modern taxation system, whatever is there, that one we are going to study. So modern taxation is the one which started during Britishers, time of Britishers. So in the year 1860, what happened is Sipai Mutiny happened in India, because of which there was a huge loss for British government. Already British government was struggling for funds. They had to maintain their entire kingdom or their authority over Indians. Due to the Sepoy mutiny, whatever the history tells, there was like completely drenching out of the wealth. That means whatever the Britishers had, Britishers hatra ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ನಾವು it became difficult to manage people, to manage their dynasties. So there were a lot of expenses, maybe for social welfare, or maybe for the policemen's whatever they had, maybe for the law and order purpose. For different purpose, they required funds so that they could manage the government well. So in the year 1860, what happened is Sipai mutiny happened, and Sir James Wilson, what he thought was the only way to collect fund was to tax people. So what did they do is, whatever the money people used to earn, maybe 100, 200, 300, that was a huge money at that time, maybe 100, 200, on that they imposed something called as tax. So it was on the income which people generated in this country, they used to pay the tax to the government. So this is like someone has encroached your house and they are ruling you. At the same time, they are also asking the money from you, and you are paying them so that they will rule you. So indirectly, we were funding Britishers for their rule. So this continued, and in the year 1860, they brought it as a law. The law, collection of tax was brought as a law, and hence the Income Tax Act was brought into force in the year 1860. So after that, lot of changes happened, and in the year 1981, in the year it is not 1981, it is 1881. Sorry, it should have been 1881. So in the year 1881, what happened? In the year 1881, the new tax act, whatever the earlier act was there, that was amended, and new tax act of 1881 was brought into force. New Income Tax Act was brought into force. So that replaced a lot of things, like the staged income tax practice, whichever we are seeing today. That is the give of this 1881 Act. From this 1881 Act, we started getting the modern income tax approach. In the year 1922, again it was replaced by the new act. So year by year, based on the requirement of the government, they kept on changing the act. And in the year 1922, that was the last Britishers Act for us. Last Britishers Income Tax Act for us. And after independence, on 1st April 1962, the new Modern Income Tax Act was brought into force. The new Modern Income Tax Act 1961, whatever we are following now. So 1961 Act was brought into force, and later on, lot of amendments were done. Every year amendments will be done for this act, and that is what we are seeing in our day-to-day life now. So this is the basics of Income Tax Act 1961. So post independence, the Indian government brought into force this Income Tax Act 1961. So normally, while studying Income Tax Act, we take into consideration these things. The first will be the basics for every income tax study is Income Tax Act 1961. Income Tax Act 1961 is the basics for every study. So Income Tax Act 1961. Income Tax Act 1961 will be there. After that, we have something called as income tax rules. Income tax rules. So why rules are important? In any law, if you see the Company Law 2013, earlier there was Companies Act 1956, which was entirely law and there was the rules were very less. But the Companies Act 2013 is such a law that it focuses more on the rules. Similarly, income tax has lot of rules. Reason for the rule, you know how statute is made. You know how statute is made. Yes, so a bill is introduced in the parliament. The bill is discussed. The draft bill is discussed in the parliament. Two parliaments we have. As per the constitution, we have lower house and upper house. At a central level, I am telling. At central level, we have lower house and upper house. That is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So in Lok Sabha, once discussion is over, it will be put into vote. By majority, if it passes, then it goes to Rajya Sabha. Even in Rajya Sabha, it will be put into vote. Discussions will happen and it will be put into vote. If there is any objection, parliamentary committee will be constituted. Based on parliamentary committee's discussions, again, a lot of amendments will be done to the draft bill. And once the draft bill is complete, it will be transferred to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha again, it will be put into vote. Once it is voted in the Rajya Sabha, it goes to President of India for his consent. Once President of India's consent is received, it will be published in the official Gazette of India, and that is called as Act. I hope this basics is known to you. Yes, idra bagge gottide alla, how bill becomes act anta nimage gottide, yes or no? You know about this? Yes, obviously you should know, because you are the people who deal with a lot of laws. So you will be knowing more about this. So this is how it is done. So every year what happens is, the act whatever is there, to amend this act, compulsory parliament discussion is needed, plus we have to pass the bills in the parliament. So frequent amendment to the act is not possible. For that purpose, from time to time, if income tax department has to change change the procedures, based on the act only, if they have to change the procedures, income tax rules will be given. So income tax rules will be governed and issued by something called as CBDT. CBDT stands for Central Board of Direct Taxes. Central Board of Direct Taxes. So if an act says procedure, a fruit salad can be done as may be prescribed. I'm just giving an example how rules and act works. So act says what will be said in the section. Section says fruit salad will be done with using the materials as may be prescribed. If the word as may be prescribed is used, it means that there is something extra which a department will be issuing. So now that as may be prescribed comes through in the form of rules. So this is applicable for almost all the statutes, especially in case of commercial laws, especially in the case of industrial laws. This is applicable. So general rules, we say general rules of practice. So income tax rules will be issued from time to time by Central Board of Direct Taxes, which manages this entire income tax regime. This entire income tax regime is managed by Central Board of Direct Taxes. And then every year, based on the economic condition of the country, lot of changes will be done to this income tax laws. Maybe some amendments, whatever you see this income tax slabs, whatever you see this as income tax rates, whatever you see this as changes in the income tax, these will be introduced every year based on the economic situations, based on the prevailing situations of the market. May I know where these amendments are mentioned? Where do you find these amendments every year? Where amendments to the income tax are done every year? Income tax ge prati varsha amendments ಮಾಡುವುದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ? Do you know about this, or have you come across this? Income tax ಗಳು ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So yeah, Ramesh has made a point there. It is budget. So this, in budget, what happens is Finance Act will be introduced. Finance Act, in the annual budget, what is mentioned is Finance Act will be introduced. Finance bill will be introduced in the parliament. That is called as budget. In the budget, if at all any changes are required for the Income Tax Act, if at all any changes are required for indirect taxes, for that purpose, it will be mentioned in the budget, annual budget. So this budget is called as Financial Act. Financial Acts. That is every year. Annual budget. Every year annual budget, through which income tax is amended. Through which income tax is amended. So this is one more area where income tax will be amended every year. So 3 documents are very much important for understanding any income tax act. Income tax law annu ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ, income tax law annu ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ, these 3 areas are very important. Along with this we have something called as circulars and notices. Circulars and notices. Along with this we have something called as circulars and notices. These circulars and notices are issued by the department. Which is the department which governs income tax? Which is the department which governs income tax? Yes. I'll be asking frequent questions again and again because I just covered it, so you should be capable of telling it now. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವುದು, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಎಸ್, ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್, CBDT. Central Board of Direct Taxes manages all the regime of income tax in the country. So it is CBDT. Finance Ministry is large. Finance Ministry consists of various things, out of which CBDT is one part that is endorsed with all the duties of income tax. So this CBDT, for departmental clarifications, that means for clarifications among the income tax officers regarding new rules or regarding new changes or regarding assessment procedures or regarding procedures of income tax, it issues something called as circulars. Suttole anta kariteve now. So in your college, normally if there is a holiday for you or if anything is to be informed from the office, what they will do, they will give a circular to you. So circular will come to the class and you will be following the instructions as per the circular. Same thing happens in the department. If department head has to say something to the department personals, what they will issue, the department will issue something called as circulars. So circulars are for implementation of the act among the department, implementation of various provisions of the act among the department. So this is one more part of income tax. And last one is notices. What is notice? If at all any information is required to be given to the assessees, that is the common people who are going to be paying the taxes, for them if at all any information is to be given, what income tax department issues is notices. Income tax department will be issuing notices. So these are secondary source of understanding the act. So primary source is Income Tax Act 1961, the Bare Act, income tax rules, that is the Bare Rules, and Finance Act, which will be amended every year. And along with that, we should have the understanding of circulars and notices to understand this income tax. And there is one more thing, that is decided case laws. We call them as judicial precedents, right? You are more aware about this judicial precedents, if I am not wrong. Citations, which are used for different purposes. So citations or judicial precedents or circulars, even these will be referred for understanding the income tax. So these are the primary source for understanding the Income Tax Act for us. If you have to understand the entire Income Tax Act, this is more of a practical area which I am speaking about, because tomorrow if you have to go for a practice in the income tax, or if you have to understand the Income Tax Act thoroughly, you should be referring this much things. You should be referring these much things hand in hand. So this is about basic requirements of an income tax act. Coming to the history of indirect tax, how did indirect tax start in India? See, Indians used to do is Indians used to manufacture whatever required in India only. Earlier in the British period, whatever the requirements of Indians was there, that used to be produced in India only. Now, what the British government did was, they thought that if Indians were given the right to generate their own income, or if entire production or economy is controlled by Indians itself, it will be very difficult for Britishers to have a control over us. So for that purpose, what did they do? They started exporting whatever is produced in India. Maybe the raw cotton, maybe the spices, maybe the oil, maybe the mines, whatsoever it is, they started exporting this. They started exporting this to other countries. They started exporting this to England. Later on, for the usage of Indians, what they used to do is, they said that Indians should import these things. Indians should import these things. Now, what Britishers did was, while exporting, it was free of cost. While exporting, it was free of cost. Whereas while importing the things, they levied something called as custom duty. Custom duty is nothing but the taxes on imports. Taxes on imports. Secondly, what did they do is, if at all you are going to manufacture anything in India, they said you have to pay for the taxes on goods which you are manufacturing. This came to be known as the excise duty. So excise duty was nothing but the duty paid for the manufacturing done in India itself. So you are manufacturing the goods. For the goods you manufactured, you have to pay the tax. So here there is an indirect impact. This is called as indirect tax regime. Indirect tax regime. Why indirect tax? We will explain at the time of understanding different type of taxes. But this is how the indirect taxes started in India. So both ways, Britishers levied these taxes in the form of punishment to India so that they can have a control over Indians. But later on, government found that this is the source for income. Later on, when in the year 1947, when India got its independence, and later on when government had to run, government thought that this is the main source of income for us. So they improvised on that. And current taxation system, whatever we are seeing, is there in practice in India. So all in all, this is how the taxes started in India. This is how the modern taxation, whatever we are seeing today, that started in India. So if I have to say what is tax, if I have to define a tax in one sentence, it can be defined this way. Tax is a financial charge imposed on a taxpayer. Tax is a financial charge. That means monetary charge. It is a monetary charge. Charge means collection. So it is a monetary collection. On whom? Imposed on a taxpayer. The person who is going to pay the tax is called as taxpayer. Imposed on taxpayer. Now, can any person impose the tax? No. Any person cannot impose tax. Taxes can be imposed by government only. So, imposed by the government or its functional equivalents. So, if I say CBDT, Central Board of Direct Tax, it is functional equivalent of government. That means government itself cannot come and collect the tax. It has a department for collection of tax, which is called as Central Board of Direct Tax for direct tax purpose. So, this is how, by the government or its functional equality, failure to pay is punishable under the law. So this point becomes very important. Reason being, tax is not a free charge. Tax is not a free charge. It is a financial charge imposed on a taxpayer so that he pays his dues to the government. And what happens is, if he doesn't pay, government will punish him under the law. So this is what is called as taxation. So simple example of a tax is, simple definition of a tax is, it is a financial charge imposed on taxpayer by the government or its functional equivalent. So ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಹೊರೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್. ಇದೊಂದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಹೊರೆ ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೆ? ಒಬ್ಬ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ. ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಯಾರು? ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನವರು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನವರು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪನಿಷೇಬಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಲಾ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪನಿಷೇಬಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ law. So this is the basics of any tax. This is the basics of any tax. So if you are understanding the concepts, please tell a yes. Are you understanding whatever is discussed now? I'm just giving a brief introduction of taxation, that's it. We have not yet touched the statute. We are just, first chapter is not about statutes, first chapter is all about introduction to taxation. Yes sir. Are you all following, everybody? Yes sir. Super. Super. So this is the basics of any tax. This is the basics of any tax. So then we have to understand, yeah, why government collects the tax. Of course, we believe this, we believe that government collects the tax for for giving the services to the public, right? So these are the publics who earn the income. Government as such cannot earn the income. Government on their own cannot earn the income. Reason, government has functions, and government is not for, the main purpose of government is not generating revenue. Main purpose of government is to rule the country. Government is for the ruling of, government is for ruling the country. CBDT and income tax department are not different. CBDT itself is the income tax department. Central Board of Direct Taxes is income tax department. ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್, ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್. ಫಾರ್ ಅದರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್, ರೈಟ್? Regarding that we will be speaking when it comes to indirect tax part, but before that let us understand this procedure, why government collects the tax. Government collects the fund from people. Why? Because government cannot generate revenue, but it requires revenue for which purpose? It requires for expenditure on defense, it requires it for the enforcement of law and order in the country. So in defense, whatever we are seeing, entire army and navy and your army, navy and air force, whatever is there, the entire expenses are to be managed by the government. So government cannot see, these armies and all will not generate any revenue for us. Armies will not generate revenue, but they are the source of expense for the country. Without that a country cannot be protected, country cannot be safeguarded, right? Without that a country cannot be safeguarded. So for that purpose, can you see the screen? Okay. Yes, Avinash, go ahead with your question. Avinash says he has a question, please ask. Yes, waiting for your question. I don't want to hear you, just type here. I want you to type. I don't want you to mute there because there will be disturbance. Any questions, just type in the chat box, okay? Defense purpose have income tax. Yes, any person who is earning income should pay the tax. Any person who is earning the income should pay the tax. Defense persons will also have the tax. Okay. So why government collects the tax? See, defense, main thing is defense. This can be asked as a question in the exam. Main purpose is defense. Defense cannot generate any income, but our major part of our budgetary expenses are dedicated for defense purpose, So for that purpose, government collects the tax from the people and then pays to the defense personals. And defense, it is not only for defense personals, maybe for the purchase of our fighter jets, whatever we recently we saw Rafale getting into the India. So for all these purpose, and for research and development in the field of research and development in the field of defense, for all this purpose, government will spend enormous amount of money. So for that, the source is taxes collected from the people. Enforcement of law and order. So we have something called as judiciary, which doesn't have its own income. Judiciary, so it is not like court takes money from the people and then gives the judgment. Yeah, of course court fees will be there, that is very nominal amount, but for giving revenues to the judges, for giving revenues to the court staffs, government requires fund. From where the funds will come? Funds will come from the taxes collected from the people. And also, to protect law and order, we have something called as police department. The entire home ministry is based on this police department. So police department on it cannot generate any revenue. Police department, yeah, of course a small part will come from your fines, penalties and all, but it is not a huge thing that you can pay entire police salary out of it. So to pay police personals, from where the fund will come? It is from the taxes which will be paid by the people. Then protection of property. The entire country's properties are to be protected by the government itself. So it is the duty of the government to protect different properties, maybe different through in the form of this one, what we say, museums, or in the form of the government has to protect a lot of forests also. Government has to protect a lot of public properties also. For all this purpose, government has to incur some expenses. So from where this will come? These expenses will come from what we say is taxes. These expenses can be made good from taxes paid by the people. These expenses can be made good from the taxes paid by the people. Then economic infrastructure. Whatever you see as the infrastructure developments, what we see, different infrastructural developments that government does. Can you hear me out? Yes. Different infrastructural facilities which government does. So infrastructural facilities means whatever these dams or your infrastructural facilities means you can hear me, right? Yes. So infrastructural facilities, you know about infrastructural facilities, dams or your bridges, roads, buildings, whatsoever government gives as facilities for the public. For even for this, expenses are managed from the taxes collected by the people. Next one is public works. PWC department is there. So PWD department, what does this do? Different public works are to be done. You have different projects like Narega and employment generation schemes through which these road constructions, dam constructions, all these things are done. For all these purposes also government has to manage the expenses. These expenses are managed in the form of taxes collected by the people. Social engineering means city planning or development of different cities, development of villages. For all these purpose government has to incur expenses. Then also government has to pay subsidies. So subsidies means what? Subsidies are the support prices which government gives. maybe for agricultural products, maybe for the LPG. LPG you get subsidy. What is it? So normal LPG will cost around 600 to 700 rupees for you. Now government will give you around 120 to 200 rupees of subsidy, so that you will get at subsidized price. That is, you are going to get it at reduced price. So this is called as subsidy. So from where the money will be coming to the government, government will get the money from the taxes paid by the people. So it is not a quid pro quo. That means you pay the tax and you get the benefit. It is not that way. Whatever the taxes is paid by the people will be used for public at large. So this is the purpose why government collects the tax. In return, it gives the service to the people. Government provides security, infrastructure, and administration to the people. Government collects the funds from the people in the form of taxes, and government provides security, infrastructure, and administration to different persons. So this is about purpose for collection of taxes. If tax is there, why government if taxes is there, why PM Care Fund? See, taxes are for day-to-day expenses of the government. Taxes are for the day-to-day expenses of the government. So it is not that government will predict something huge is going to happen in the form of pandemics, in the form of drought, in the form of floods and all. So if government needs emergency fund, it asks the public to share their money. That is why this PM Care funds and all are coming into picture. That is why this PM Care funds and different your Prime Minister Relief Fund or Chief Minister's Relief Fund, these are all collected by the government. So it is not that only due to tax government can manage this one. When there are emergency, government may require some funds, and for that purpose, government will collect in the form of PM Care Fund or Drought Relief Fund, Flood Relief Fund and all. Yes. So this is about brief introduction of taxes. Tomorrow we'll be learning about taxes versus fees versus cess. So tomorrow we'll be learning about this taxes, fees and cess, differences between tax, fees and cess, and then we'll be understanding the types of taxes. We'll be understanding different types of taxes. Yes. So this is about today's class. I hope it is clear. Any doubts you can just put up. I can give 5 minutes for doubt clearing. If you have any doubts, please do raise. Grants given to states. See, India is a federal system of government wherein state government and central government, two forms of governments are there. Now, sometimes what happens is states may require funds from the central government also, because normally major taxes are collected by central governments. Only some type of taxes are collected by state governments. So now state government may require some fund. For that purpose, government will distribute, central government will distribute funds to the state government. That is called as grant. Yes. Any other doubts?